What's up, my beautiful fashionistas? Today's inspiration is this beautiful dress just as you see it. And if this is your first time, kindly join the family by subscribing so that you don't miss out. And let us start the video. So my top piece is already folded into two as you see, and I'm cutting top and bottom separate, though it is one dress, but because of the pockets as you've seen, we have this piece already separate. So on top here I already have my shoulder line, and I'm going to be using 7.5 plus half an inch for joining allowance of the sleeve. But since we are using a princess dart, I added 1 inch. Put that in mind, add 1 inch for that princess dart, so I'm marking 9 inches. And then from up there I go down by half of the armhole measurement. In this case I'm working with 8 inches. I mark it down to form a chest line. So guys, whatever I have on top at the shoulder line, I mark it also, which is 9 inches here at the chest line, so that it aids me when I'm carving out the armhole. So we have a line there straight up, and on that line I'm just going to take off 1 inch for the shoulder slant. Whatever I have remaining, I get its midpoint at 3.5, and then I come on top here at the neckline. I mark my neck width and then make a shoulder slant from the neck width that I've marked to the 1 inch I took off from the other line, and from there just add half inch for the sewing allowance. So guys, at this point I want to form my princess dart, so I take off the bust point or the bust line at 10.5 inches. So it is a line there, the bust line. It is going to help us form the princess dart. So the nipple to nipple measurement I'm working with is 8 inches. Dividing it by 2, I get 4 plus half an inch as the joining allowance. See? So I mark that at the bust line and that the waistline connector line like that. That is going to end into the armhole. So for this you can use your free hand, use your curves, and make it a little curve that connects like that, and that is our princess, that curve. So it is like that. Make sure that it is not very pointy. Curve it where necessary, and after there I come back here at the armhole and mark the back armhole first, as you see, and then no, that is the front armhole, a little bit deeper inside, and the back armhole is just from the midpoint to the chest line. So guys, now I can divide my bust measurement, which is 36 inches, divided it by 4 plus that 1 inch of the princess dart and the sewing allowance of about 2 inches, since I'll be using lining. So I do the same even at the waistline, waist measurement, dividing it by 4 plus 1 inch for the princess dart and the 2 inches for the sewing allowance. So now simply I just connect these 2 points just as you see, like that, and it's ready to be cut out. Like that for now. So now I open my piece onto the right side, and at this point you have to determine where you want your like one arm or the one shoulder to be, and you know all the juice parts that you have in this top. So this other side, as you see me, I marked from the armhole or from the chest line, I went up by 2.5 inches and I marked it there. Then I came at the center front, or the center midpoint of this top. I took off the neck depth, guys, the neck depth. So you have to determine it. I'm working with 3.5, but since we have the 1 inch on top there at the shoulder line of the allowance, I marked 4. So from this center front again, the middle, I took off 3.5 inches to this other side as the neck width. The neck width that I'm going to be using. Then I'm going to connect these points. So you have to make sure at the center front it is not choking. So don't do something that is less than 3 inches. I think you should even do not less than 4 inches. So now I used 4 inches for neck depth, neck width also, and then connected a curve like that. Remember, it is going to just be on one side. This is a one shoulder top, and then connecting to the armhole the other side like that. You can choose any style that you want, straight line, curved, like that. So that is it. Remember, we are marking at this point at the right side. So now we have to get the back. It is also folded into two like this. I've used the front to cut it out. It's just that this back piece has a zipper allowance. As you see, it is of 1 inch there. So I just want to fold in this zipper, as you will be seeing later, just to create a line. So now guys, as you're seeing how I'm folding, I want to fold in that zipper allowance just as the top will be after all the sewing. So I'm folding it inside like this, and then my front piece will be on top like this. So they will be aligning very perfectly. So guys, for ease, let me just pin down this zipper allowance so that it is not in our way. So I do that, then place my front piece at this point. The wrong sides are facing each other, so this top piece that you're looking at is the right side of the top piece or the front piece. So after cutting out the neckline or the asymmetric design, now I cut out the princess dart like that, and the first top pieces are for the front, first two, one for each side, and the other two will be for the back. So you can label them or notch them down, pin them together so that you don't misplace them. So now we can start cutting out the bottom piece, which is the skirt piece of this dress. So I have my pieces folded into two. The first one is the back with a zipper allowance of 1 inch. I've marked already my waistline on top here. I left some joining allowance at the top. So from that waistline, I'm going down by 8 inches as the hip line there. And now I'm just going to divide the waistline into 4. Whatever I get, I just added the sewing allowance of 2 inches. So guys, this time around, I'm not going to be working with any darts for the bottom piece, just because there is a waist band. It's even a waist belt used, and it will come out nice, as you will be seeing. So I also divide the hip measurement by 4 plus the sewing allowance. I mark it where it's supposed to be. So whatever I have at the hip line, I subtract 1 inch and I mark that at the hemline. So the hemline measurement is 1 inch less than the measurement that we have at the hip line. Then I just carve out, just as you see, connecting all the markings, and where a curve is needed, please do so, and cut it out. So simply, that is the bottom piece or the skirt piece of this dress. And now I already also formed or cut out some linings for all my pieces, the top pieces, the skirt pieces, everything just the same. Just that for the skirt pieces, I made sure the lining is 1 inch shorter than the main piece, as you see there. So that's what we have, and now I'm just preparing all my pieces for sewing. So after some time, this is what we have already sewn. So guys, when it comes to a princess dart, for a perfect princess dart, I always want to sew starting from down. So this is what we have for the front. I sewed starting from down going up, and this is the lining also. So it is also even the same for the other pieces, the front pieces. At this point, this is the back piece. So guys, remember we added 1 inch at the shoulder line for the princess dart. So that 1 inch is always needed, very needed for the side piece, but this bottom piece, it comes out as an excess that we cut out. So I mark 1 inch and connect it back into the armhole and cut it out. We don't need it at this time, but we needed it when we were sewing. So thank you 1 inch princess dart allowance. So this is what we have, and I'll do this. I'll cut that also for the front as you see it now. Now I have to just join by 1/2 inch along the neckline, and then I will prepare for the sleeves. So guys, for the skirt pieces, now as you see, they are also finished already. Now at this point, this is the back. So you see, I sewed the lining with the main piece first at the hemline, then pulled it up so that it aligns with the waistline, and then sewed the sides. That's how I came up with this thing, or this skirt. So now, separated into two, we have a slit at the bottom here and also a zipper at the top. So guys, for the front piece of the skirt, this is what we have. I have pocket pieces here. They are folded into two, and on fold it is 8 by 10 inches. As you see, they are 2 for each side. So guys, what I'm going to do for these pockets, I've folded my front piece, and on the side here on top, I'm marking 2.5 inches and going down by 6.5 inches, and I'm going to connect just a line. You can even curve it if that's what you want. So in this case, it is a line straight as you see. And now I'm just going to open up, as you see, open up the pocket pieces like this. They are now not on fold, and then place them under the skirt piece. But the skirt piece is on fold because the pockets are on each side. If you want one side, just use one side. So I'm making sure that the skirt piece is aligning at the side and on top here, the waistline, with the pocket pieces on one side of the pocket pieces, and then cut out like that. So now that is what we have. So I'm just going to pick one pocket piece, making sure right side is facing the right side of the skirt, and also by 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch. Let me just pin down to demonstrate to you what I mean. So it will be like that. After sewing, I'll push it inside, make sure it is aligning at the side and on top here, the waistline. Then I will tack it at the side and tack it on top at the waistline, then sew up this opening, and this is what we have. So it is simple as you see. So you see the inside of it. After attaching it, I had to go and tack down the top and here on the side and close up the opening below there. That is the pocket already. I did the same even the other side to have something that looks like this. Beautiful. I know you agree. So even the top pieces, I've already joined them along the shoulder, the one shoulder that we have, and I attached also the bottom pieces to the back. As you see already, I'll just overlock that inside. That's how it looks like. So guys, to finish up the front piece of the skirt, I'm just going to match it up with its top piece, making sure the centers are aligning, the center front. And then on the side, I'll just connect a curve like this because we have an excess there at the pocket piece. I'll just do that, finish up the pockets. So now at the back, this is what I have. I'll just be attaching a zipper, sew up from the bottom part of the zipper to about, I'll leave about 5 to 7 inches thereabout, according to the length of the person, and that will be for the slit. Finally, the final part that we are cutting are the sleeves. So now these are my 2 sleeves. This one is going to be the normal sleeve. I've left 1.5 inches here for the elastic, and you can choose how many elastics that you want to put in the middle. So on top here, I just marked 4 inches the cap's height and drew a diagonal line. So now I just carve out kind of an S. It is just going to be a simple sleeve like this, and that is what I'm going to be using. So you have to consider the fact that your sleeve, you'll be adding elastic and increase its width, add some more inches. So I'll be top stitching on the elastic from the inside part of the sleeve. At the bottom here, I'll just fold by 3/4 of an inch twice. Remember that the allowance is 1.5 inches, and I'll pass an elastic and then attach the sleeve, finish up the sides, and that will be all. So, and for the other sleeve also, at the bottom here, we have 1.5 inches for the elastic casing, and then I'll just pass an elastic in the middle. And then on top here, I left about 3 inches off, and I left some elastic allowance, casing. So below the elastic casing, I'll just put my armhole, part and finish up the sleeve. And this is what I came up with. So I instead used 1 elastic in the middle instead of the 2 as we see in the thumbnail. And this is with the one shoulder asymmetric design that we want. If you want, you can go deeper by that design. So this is the other sleeve. That is where I was talking about. After the elastic casing, you just sew up, and that is what we have now. It is a beautiful dress. This is how the back looks like. Also, zipper is attached already and the slit. So I have to overlock around the slit there. That is the only thing that is remaining, and now the dress is already finished, guys. It is so finished, and it came out as a beautiful dress. Those are the pockets, enough for your palms or your hands or for your phone. And this is it at the mannequin. So it has a waist belt, as you see. It is 2.5 times the waist measurement that I'm working with, and the width is 2.5 inches on fold. So it came out so beautiful. You can make yours too in any size, and I'll be seeing you soon. Thank you.